Hi class. At the start of our week here on week 3, I do want us to begin thinking about our paper 2, which is going to be a big project to close out our semester. And as part of that, I want to just do a real brief tutorial on doing research for that paper. You are going to be asked to bring in multiple sources beyond the actual text or whatever it is that you are taking a look at. So what I want you to do is use Google Scholar as much as possible for your research, and I'm sure many of you have used this before. And it's just a better place to start to find more critical, rigorously peer-reviewed texts, respected critics, cultural critics, and just to kind of look at what they're saying about your text or about its creator, whether it's a singer, songwriter, and if it's something really fresh or new, maybe we might not find as much on Google Scholar, but it's certainly important to find concepts or ideas or other aspects that we can explore and gather the research this way. So I'm going to use an example here today to help you think about it. I'm going to pretend like I am working on a paper about Black Mirror, which is a TV show that's on Netflix, or it's shown there. And I'm really interested in the entire history of You, like that particular episode. And like I said before, I think picking a specific episode can work for a show like Black Mirror that's episodic, so we could take a look at that. So I'm going to click on there and then I can see that we have a couple of things that we could look at right away. Black Mirror and Critical Media Theory. We could certainly take a look at this book. As you can see, it is a book. And we could look at how to access that book. In some cases, we might be able to get the book just by clicking on it and visiting the page. We might be able to view some of the contents and it might be helpful to us. It also might not be helpful to us depending on the situation. But pay attention to that, and if for any reason you ever have trouble accessing a source, we can go to the Klein library. So you can check on the Klein library to help you. This looks like we have a pretty extensive amount of material accessible to us, but that's also a lot for you to read. But you may, again, if you're focusing on a specific specific part of that specific episode, you may look for where that episode is referenced and how it's discussed. But what really would kind of hit the sweet spot, I think, for research is looking for journals, which really kind of jump out at me because I recognize those as being really good academic sources, and that they have available PDFs, which would be kind of showing up over here. A really important trick to know is that you'll see the little quotes there, and you might be aware of this, but if not, click on that, and I would go ahead, since we're in MLA, I would copy and paste this into my document right away once I download this, so that I don't have to go back later and try to track down everything that goes along with that text, like all the information I need to make the citation. I can just copy and paste it right out of there. So I'm going to just download this, poof, heading on down. You may want to go ahead and rename it once you have it downloaded so that you can kind of keep track of it. You might call it Alex Borin article or whatever, just so you can remember it. And then just I would check out the abstract, the literature review, and then kind of also obviously read through this. We have some methods, discussions, but trying to pay attention to what these arguments are making. And if you're struggling with that, let me know, but a lot of times it takes a little bit of work to read through some of these more academic texts and kind of get a sense of what they're saying, but really interesting to come through here. Even though this is undergraduate research, I would still give it really high marks for being a reliable source, particularly because these are still peer-reviewed. They still undergo a lot of rigor in terms of vetting them, so I think they can work really well. And also, I think they tend to be more modern texts that they look at, so that's helpful too. Here's another one. We have a journal, so Journal of Jungian Studies. So I would probably want to check that out too. And if you ever get to a place where you can't access something through Google Scholar, like here I'd have to pay a lot of money, 25, $30 to read this article, or pounds, I guess, $30, it looks like, in American cash. Come over to the Klein Library and you can check in here and see if it's available through Klein Library. Anything as a student, you should never pay for your research. It should be paid for by the university. So check and see if they have it in their collection here. And then also make sure that you, or if you can't find it, I should say, you can always come to the Ask Us bar and say, hey, I'm really looking for this specific article. It says I got to pay $30 for it. Can you help me acquire it? And they will pay for it for you if that has to be the case. So I want you to be aware of it. And you are welcome to start at NAU Klein. What I kind of find though at times is that it can be challenging to find stuff because I think the search engine isn't quite as intuitive as it would be on Scholar. So a lot of times I start in Scholar and then I come here. And again, we might just look at some of the other possibilities too. I might start to notice like, hey, Bandersnatch is coming up a lot when I do these searches. Maybe I might want to take a look at that episode as well. Like here's an article from the American Journal, again, C Journal is there, of Psychiatry Residence Journal, so never heard of that before. And we have a full text at NAU, so we could maybe take a look at that. So those are just a few things that you can try out. Like I say, Google Scholar, NAU Klein. Go to Klein if it's asking you to pay for something, so we don't want you to pay for anything. Have them pay for it for you or track it down for you. They might also be able to get ebooks for you if the book's not accessible, so keep that in mind as well. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about research this week to kind of help you along with these. Good luck with this big paper, and we'll definitely do our best to help you along the way.